Faceless channels are blowing up this year with channels like this raking in unbelievable numbers in record time. The channel is called One Bible Verse, and they posted their first video barely a month ago. But within that time, they've already amassed close to 50,000 subscribers from just 6 videos. And this isn't from short-form views. If you take a closer look at the channel, you'll notice that they're only posting long-form content, with their first video alone already bringing in more than 2.2 million views. That's how viral their strategy is. And if you think this is just a one-time thing, another video has also brought in more than 500,000 views, all from a channel that's just a month old. The best part is that the channel is simply creating videos focused on biblical insights, spiritual motivation, and personal growth. But somehow, they're delivering this in such a compelling way that viewers can't stop watching. And if you're wondering whether this channel is even monetized at all, you can check monetization yourself with tools like NextLev or a tool like YT-Large. As you can see, this channel is fully monetized. To make things even easier, I'm going to walk you through the entire process of creating content like this. We'll cover everything from finding topics for this niche to actually writing the scripts. Then we'll look at generating images and move on to voiceover. From there, I'll show you a simple way to modify the images, and finally, we'll move on to editing the videos in the same style as these creators. To make things easier, I've created a Google Doc that contains every single prompt I'll be using in this video. You can find it in the prompt channel of my Discord server. Just look for the name One Bible Verse, and you'll find the document right under the title. I'll be leaving the link to the Discord server in the video description. Oh, and you can also find it on my channel page. Guys, these prompts typically take a while to create, so I'd really appreciate a like if you find them helpful. To give you a glimpse of what we're about to create in this video, check out this short demo I made using the exact same strategy I'm about to show you.
It's not just coincidence. Many church members are marrying outside their church, and the reasons behind it are deeper, more spiritual, and sometimes more shocking than most people are willing to admit. You sit in the pews every Sunday, worshiping next to someone you've known for years. Yet when it's time to choose a spouse, something pulls you beyond those walls, and that pull is often a reflection of what the church refuses to confront. One hidden reason is that the church environment sometimes cultivates performance over authenticity. People wear spiritual masks so well that genuine connection becomes impossible, and you can't marry a mask. You crave realness, not rehearsed holiness. And when the only version of someone you know is their Sunday morning self, trust becomes difficult.
Now, the first step is to find a topic for the video. It's actually quite easy to come up with topics for this style of video, so feel free to get creative. But to simplify the entire process, head over to the Google Doc I mentioned earlier and look for the heading I've provided. Copy the prompt and go to your preferred text generator. I'll be using ChatGPT for this demonstration, but both DeepSeek and Qwen work perfectly, so feel free to use whichever one you prefer. Go ahead and paste the prompt into the text area. You don't need to change much here. Simply scroll down to the bottom until you find the placeholder. Remove it and specify the total number of topics you want the AI to generate. You can ask for as many as you like, but I'll go with 20. Hit enter, and your topics will be ready within a few seconds. As you can see, it's generated some pretty cool ones that we can use for the video. Look through them and select whichever one you prefer. If you don't like any of the results, just go ahead and regenerate for a fresh batch of topics. Once you've selected the topic for your video, it's time to move on to actually creating the script. This part is just as simple. Go to the Google Doc and look for this heading. Copy everything under it and go back to ChatGPT. Paste the copied prompt into the text area and make one change. You need to add your chosen topic. So make sure you've copied it, and then replace the placeholder with your chosen topic. Now, before you hit enter, there's something you need to know. This style of video is typically quite short, around 4 to 6 minutes. So the prompts are structured to produce a similar word count, around 600 to 900 words. But you can make changes if you want to create something longer. Once that's done, you don't need to make any additional edits. Simply hit enter and wait for ChatGPT to generate your script. You can read through and make any necessary changes, but the introduction and the overall script usually come out pretty solid, so you can go ahead and use it as is. Now that the script is done, it's time to generate the voiceover. There are plenty of AI voice generators you can use for this part, but if you're looking for a free option, Clipchamp is a great choice, so feel free to check it out. However, for this demonstration, I'll be using 11 Labs since it's one of the best available. It's a freemium tool, but free users get 10,000 characters per month, which is pretty generous. Head over to their voice library and browse through the available voices until you find one you like. To make things easier, you can use the filters. Just make sure you select your preferred language. In this case, English. Choose an American accent, set the gender to male, and select the age range for the voice you want to use. I'll go with a young voice. Listen to a few samples until you find one that works. This one sounds alright, so I'll use it. Now paste the narration and hit generate. If it doesn't sound good enough, you can tweak the settings until you find what works for you. Now that the narration is ready, it's time to generate the images we'll be using for the video. But before that, we need prompts to give to the image generator. I recommend going through the story yourself and coming up with images that would best fit each scene. However, I've created 2 separate prompts to help you through this process. The first one is the most important, as it can generate as many prompts as you request for the story. This is useful, but since AI isn't perfect, I created the second prompt as a backup. Let's start with the first one. Copy the prompt under this heading and paste it inside ChatGPT. We're going to make a few changes here. Go through the prompt, and wherever you see number of prompts, replace it with the total number of images you want to create for your video. In this case, I'll choose 20. So I'll change the first 3 instances, then move to the bottom of the prompt and change that one as well. You also need to add your script, so make sure you find and copy it. Then remove the placeholder and paste the copied script. This step is very important, so make sure you're pasting the full thing. Once that's done, hit enter and wait for ChatGPT to generate the prompts. These are pretty solid, so you can use them as they are. But as I mentioned earlier, AI isn't perfect. There may be parts in your story that require an image that the AI didn't generate a prompt for. To solve this, go back to the Google Doc and copy this second prompt. What this one does is allow you to input a small part of your script, and the AI will generate a prompt specifically for that scene. Simply paste the prompt into ChatGPT and scroll down to this part, where it says to insert the excerpt from your script. Then copy the portion of the narration you want to generate the image for and replace the placeholder with it. Once you're done, hit enter and ChatGPT will generate a single prompt that you can use to create that particular image. You can even use this method throughout your entire story, instead of letting the AI decide which parts require images. The next step is to generate the images. Feel free to use any premium image generator, but for this demonstration, we're going to look at 2 free options and 1 paid tool. For the free tools, we'll use Leonardo AI and Google's Image FX. You're probably already familiar with Leonardo AI, but if you're new to Google Image FX, it's a completely free image generator by Google that produces some really impressive results. We'll look at it soon, but first, let's head over to Leonardo AI and select Image Creation. Now, once you're on the image generation page, go to the presets and choose the Phoenix model. Close the pop-up and set the contrast to high. Then go to Image Dimensions and select a 16:9 aspect ratio for long-form content. Once you're done with these settings, paste the first prompt into the text area. You can make changes to the prompt if you'd like, but it works perfectly as it is. So just hit generate and wait for Leonardo AI to do its magic. Now check out these images. They look pretty cool. You can go ahead and try some of the other prompts as well. These ones are equally impressive, so feel free to download as many as you need for your narration. Now let's try these prompts with Google Image FX. You can simply search for the name on Google or find the link in the description of this video. If you don't have an account already, go ahead and create one, and you'll be directed to this page. Paste the prompt into the text area and scroll down to the aspect ratio. Again, we'll select the 16:9 aspect ratio and hit create. Image generation is pretty fast. It typically takes around 10 to 30 seconds for the images to be ready. Now check out our first batch of images. The quality is very impressive, and the best part is that the tool is completely free, so you can generate as many images as you want. Check out these other images as well. They look just as impressive as the previous ones. For the paid tool, we'll be using ChatGPT. The recent update makes it a great option for this style of image generation. Not only does it create high-quality images, but it can also save them in PNG format, which means you can get transparent backgrounds directly from the AI. So head over to ChatGPT and paste the image prompt. Now take note of these changes if you decide to use this tool for your images. First, make some space at the top and type in the aspect ratio you want for the image. Then delete this part from the style section. You also want the edges to be feathered, so add this command. We need to make one more change, but first, let's see the results. It may take about a minute, but this image doesn't look too bad, except that the background isn't transparent. So let's make a small adjustment to the prompt by simply adding transparent background and hitting enter. As you can see, now the image has no background, which is really convenient. Check out these other images as well, so yes, you can definitely use ChatGPT if you want a simpler way to create PNG images. If you're using Leonardo AI or Google Image FX, you'll need to remove the background from your images and then save the files as PNG. This process is pretty straightforward, and you can use any image editor like Canva or Photoshop. But Photopea works perfectly and it's free, so let's go with that. Open Photopea and drag your image into the workspace. Don't worry, this isn't anything complex. We're just making a few simple edits. Select the magic wand tool and increase the tolerance to something like this. Then click on the part of the image you want to remove. If you see a message saying you haven't selected the layer, just make sure the image layer is selected, then click that part again. Hit the delete or backspace key on your keyboard to remove the background area. Repeat this for any other parts you want to erase. You can use the eraser tool to clean up any leftover areas. Just make sure it's selected and adjust the brush size depending on the section you're working on. Click to clean up any remaining colors or outlines. If it's not working when you click, press Ctrl+D to deselect, then try again. This looks alright, but if you want to fade out the edges, simply grab this tool, increase the further amount, and then click and drag to draw a shape around your characters like this. Once you're done, click the Add Vector Mask. That gives it a soft, clean fade effect, which looks great. Now you can go ahead and export it as a PNG file. Most of your images will be easier to edit than this, so no need to stress. For an image like this one, you just click once with the magic wand tool and delete the background. Simple as that. Then export it as a PNG. Repeat this process for all your images. Once you're done, it's time to move on to the next step, editing the video. But before that, we're going to enhance the quality of the images. Keep in mind that this step is optional, so feel free to skip, but your final video will look a lot sharper and more professional this way. Enhancing the video after editing can be pricey and time-consuming, so it's easier to upscale the images before editing. The tool I recommend is Upscale with a Y. It's free, works on both Windows and Mac, and is very easy to use. Once you've installed it, you can either choose to upscale individual images, which can be time-consuming, or I suggest putting all your image files in a single folder. Then check Batch Upscale and select the folder with your images. Choose your preferred model and the scale. 2 or 3 times should work perfectly for these. Hit Upscale and wait for the process to be completed. The duration typically depends on the speed of your computer and the number of images, so the entire process could take anywhere from a few seconds to a couple of minutes. Once that's done, it's time to edit the video. You can use any video editor you like, but I'll be using CapCut since it works perfectly for this kind of project. First, open CapCut and import all your images along with the voiceover. Drag the narration onto the timeline. Keep in mind that although AI-generated voices are improving, but they still include awkward pauses, so take a moment to trim those out. Just make sure you leave enough space between sentences to keep the narration sounding natural. Keep playing it back until it flows smoothly. Now let's add a background. For this example, we'll use a simple cream-colored background. You can find one on any stock image site like Vecteezy. Just search for cream background, browse through the results, and download the one that looks best to you. Make sure to change the aspect ratio of your CapCut project to 16:9 since we're creating long-form content. Now instead of scaling the background image, turn off uniform scale and manually increase the width until it fills the entire canvas. Then, stretch that background image to match the full duration of your video. Next, bring in your first image and position it where you want. In this case, I'm placing it on the right side of the screen. Now, it's time to add text. Go to Text, select the default style, and drop it onto the timeline. Replace the placeholder text with that part of your script. Change the text color to black and pick a font that fits your channel's style. The channel we're modeling uses a chalkboard-type font, so you can use something like Crayon, Chalkboard, or even Comic Sans if that's your vibe. Once that's set, position the text nicely and head over to Animations. Choose an entrance animation. Either Type 1 or Type 2 works well. Adjust the animation duration to match the pacing of your narration. Now adjust the duration of the image itself if needed, based on the length of that part of your script. Then split the text layer when it's time to bring in your second image. Position the second image on the opposite side. Move the corresponding text layer here, and paste the next part of your script. Remember to break long lines into multiple lines and tweak the line height so everything looks clean and readable. For important or catchy sentences, you can duplicate the text layer, change the message slightly, and give it a different color, something that pops against the background. Then, apply a faster entrance animation, like a zoom in, to add emphasis. Make sure you decrease or increase the duration of each layer depending on the narration. Repeat this as many times as necessary till you reach the end of the video. This may take some time, so I'm going to speed through it. But once you're done, select each of these and create a compound clip. This makes it easy to add transitions. Then head over to Transitions and select your preferred one. Avoid using complex transitions, only use simple ones like mix, blink, or black fade. The channel we are modeling uses the mix transition as well as jump cuts, so I will drag and drop it between these two clips. You can add other transitions as well to the remainder of your clips, but I recommend simply applying the mixed transition to the rest of your clips. Just make sure that transition is selected and then hit this button to apply to the rest of your clips. Simple as that. You can add sound effects if you want to. Simply go to Audio, Sound Effect, and look for a whoosh or any sound you prefer. I already have one on my computer, so I'll add it to the part where the colored text appears on screen. I'll decrease the volume as well so that it's not too loud and slow it down in some of these places. Next, you need to add a filter. So look through the available ones and choose whichever one you prefer. In this case, I'll go with the clear filter. Drop it inside the timeline and extend the layer to match the duration of the full video. The last step is to add background music. Feel free to grab one from your preferred royalty-free music library, but the channel we are modeling uses one from YouTube Audio Library. Simply search for steps and download this one. Add it to your timeline, decrease the volume significantly, and trim any excess. The video is looking great, so we can go ahead and export it at either 2 or 4K resolution. Now, I know this niche is pretty simple, but if you want to see some of the hottest trending niches that are easy to start and won't take much time, I've put together this playlist just for you.